Hello, my name is Joyce Kwan, and today I'll be presenting on the multi-state outbreak of human Salmonella Schwarzengrund infections linked to dry pet food. So first, to provide some background information, this breakout was specifically of Salmonella serotype Schwarzengrund infection, and it lasted for 1 year from 2006 to 2007. The outbreak spread to 21 states in the US, but was linked to a single manufacturer in Pennsylvania named Mars Pet Care US. Salmonella is a bacteria that lives in the intestines of many food animals, such as cows, pigs, and chicken, and people are able to contract salmonella if they ingest this bacteria. So, in analyzing the situation, the question of what is the problem that this case needed to address during the time needs to be answered. And this is they should have determined how exactly people were acquiring salmonella from dry pet food. So, in doing a SWOT analysis, we can see that this situation did not really have any strengths, and instead it had many more weaknesses, especially as there were many unknowns to the case, especially in regard to the question of how, and this will be discussed later. This did leave opportunity, however, to improve regulations for the manufacturing of dry pet food, but also left some threats as it infected many, especially young children and infants. This also leaves a concern for similar issues that may arise in the future. So, during the time, there were these 4 possible causes that were under review as the core issues of this case. However, although these 4 factors are valid, there was a problem in that the specific source of contamination was not identified. And this could include plant equipment, contaminated ingredients, extrusion process of dry pet food, and this is when the pet food is sprayed with animal fat, and so this animal fat could have been contaminated as well. However, none of these factors were identified or investigated. So, in analyzing alternatives, we need to look at what was done as a solution during the time, and these 4 points were made. And so all products were recalled and taken off store shelves, and the manufacturer plant was cleaned, disinfected, and renovated. And this did bring some betterment to the situation. However, after another outbreak was linked to this same manufacturer, it was permanently shut down. And organizations such as the CDC promoted proper storage of pet food and hand washing. However, although these 4 steps were somewhat productive and effective, there were 2 main points that I believe should have been done. And so this was that the main source and cause should have been more properly investigated until there was a clear answer and explanation. And through thorough investigation of the manufacturing plant via testing for salmonella on the equipment, plumbing, or products received should have been done as well. So, in order to provide some recommendations, I mention again the thorough investigation of the manufacturing plant, especially for animal products and ingredients, as this is most likely where salmonella came from. And secondly, I would recommend that scientific studies and experiments on how to prevent salmonella contamination in dry pet food to be done. For example, these 2 scientific investigations were done and they were tested for the efficacy of plant-derived antimicrobials or organic acid and formaldehyde treatment of pet food in order to control this salmonella. And so the continuation and development of these types of studies can lead to a breakthrough and long-term solution for this issue. So to establish an action plan, I included 2 steps that were already done during the time and 3 steps that should have been done. And so the 3 steps I believe that should have been done is further testing and investigation of the manufacturing plant, quickly fixing and addressing the issue and source of contamination, and scientific studies and experiments, as I have just stated. So, steps 1 through 4 should be done relatively quickly to prevent further outbreak. And since scientific investigations take time and money, it would take a longer time, so perhaps maybe around a year. So, to finalize this case report, although not many were infected, less than 100 were actually, and the outbreak only lasted for about a year, there were still many factors unaccounted for, as I discussed. And so, in my opinion, this leaves great concern for future outbreaks. And in fact, there was even a recall for pet food just this year in 2020. So, this comes to show that although this case had been closed in 2007, this issue of salmonella in pet food is an ongoing issue. So that is my presentation. Thank you for listening.